note about what it is and where it is. So the average everyday American may not find their story in a national park, but they will most likely find it in a heritage area. That's what makes heritage areas an excellent complement and partner to the National Park Service. There are 55 national heritage areas spread throughout the United States. If you have really good eyes, you could see them on this map, but you can also Google national heritage areas and it should take you to a website that shows all of them. Silos and Smokestacks is the only national heritage area in Iowa. You can see us kind of right there in the middle. And we are the only one that tells and preserves the story of American agriculture. So here we are in Waterloo. Our headquarters has remained in Waterloo for our 25-year existence. We started in Waterloo and we're staying in Waterloo. So how did we begin? After the farm crisis in the 80s, agricultural businesses really suffered and people moved away from Waterloo and farmers were really struggling. So in 1991, a group of citizens, which we refer to as the Kitchen Table 7, recognized the importance of Waterloo's agricultural heritage, and they created a plan to attract visitors to revitalize the economy. So they made connections, if we want to move on to the next slide, Jori. Soon they discovered there was a rich variety of stories and resources beyond just Waterloo, but in the whole region. And so in 1992, they formally organized Silos and Smokestacks, which we are a 501c3 nonprofit. And we're dedicated to recognizing, preserving, promoting, and celebrating Northeast Iowa's contribution to rural agriculture. So the National Park Service then identified this region as nationally significant, that it was a working landscape, recognizing that it was unique in telling the story of American agriculture. So in 1996, this region was congressionally designated as a national heritage area to tell the story of American agriculture. So our borders are I-35 from the border at Minnesota down through Des Moines, and then from I-80 in Polk County east over until the border, the Mississippi River on the other side. Those are congressionally designated borders. People often ask us, well, why aren't you the whole state of Iowa? I actually can't answer that because I wasn't here when that was all going on. But I think they selected this area because it had a high population, 2 million people in this area, and 37 counties in the Northeast. So it was a high impact area. And we often talk about, it really literally would take an act of Congress to change our borders. So this is our region. You can see this photo here, as I said, where there's 37 counties that make up the region. And we have 115 partner sites and attractions. And when we move on to Candy, you'll hear more about how those sites are selected and our work with them. You'll also hear a little more in education. But we recently moved our headquarters to 305 West Park Avenue. Some of you might have been to our open house a couple of weeks ago celebrating this new headquarters. This headquarters is free and open to the public. The purpose of this was to have people come in, find out about our partner sites, where they are, where they could go to learn the story of agriculture, and then move on out and go visit them. So we also, I want to point out, have a great conference room that holds about 20 and is available to the public. So if you're looking for a place to have a meeting, give us a call. We can get you on the calendar. 2 years ago, we formally assessed our economic impact. We did a very comprehensive study. You can find the complete study on our website. But to highlight just a few things from that economic impact, we generate annually, this is every year, well, with the exception of the COVID year, about $309 million in economic activity due to the Silos and Smokestacks National Heritage Area. And that's throughout the region. That's not just one place, but it's across the entire region. We have about 3 million visitors every year to the heritage area. That includes local people as well as out-of-state people that come and visit the 115 sites that we have. And we receive or generate, about 41 million in federal tax revenues and about 39 million additionally in state tax revenues. So we are, as I like to say, funded by the American people. We're funded through congressional legislation appropriations. We have to match every dollar that we receive from our appropriations. Excuse me. And then, as I said, we generate quite a bit back in tax revenue. We can move on to the next one, Jori. I mentioned previously that we are 25 years old. This year is our 25th anniversary. This is quite a milestone for us. We were one of the original heritage areas, one of the first 9 established back in 1996. We are one of the oldest. I think we have another heritage area that's about 30 years old, but otherwise we're at that long-term place. You'll hear a little more about all the celebrations and events that we're having throughout this year to celebrate our 25th anniversary. But I just wanted to point out our seal here. For 25 years, we've been collaborating, educating, and celebrating ag heritage. So we're very proud of that existence. I now will pass the proverbial pitchfork over to our Director of Partnerships, Candy Street, to tell you more about how our heritage area is made up and how things work. So, Candy?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, good. Thank you. Jori, you can advance the slide. Thank you. Thank you for having us today. I'm excited, and thanks to Mr. Johnson and Michelle for inviting us. I have been here those 25 years, and it's been my distinct honor and privilege to work with my home state, and I call Waterloo home now and have for nearly all those 25 years. I grew up in Maquoketa, but I feel really privileged to be able to help Iowans preserve and share their nationally significant story. And so that's basically a nutshell what my job is. And here are some of the programs that we are going to talk about today in terms of how we support preserving and telling the story of American agriculture for not only residents to experience, but visitors. And this is the 4 areas that we'll focus on today. You can advance the slide. A big part of my role is to work with heritage area sites to help them tell their story of American agriculture to the best of their ability, where they're at, and in their abilities to tell that story, to lift the bar and keep ratcheting it up so that we improve not only how we tell our stories, but how we provide visitor experiences for residents as well as visitors. We started out primarily with museums, large museums that had sizable budgets and staff. Maybe not budgets. I think someone like Billy Bailey at the Grout might tell me we never have enough money to do the work we need to do. But we certainly were involved with a lot of sites in the beginning that were well established. And then today we work with a diverse range of farms, large museums, large agricultural manufacturers, as well as small businesses like working farms, but also volunteer-led historical societies. Since, could you advance the slide? Since 2001, we started with 9 sites. And then quickly in 2002, we jumped to almost 60 sites. So you can imagine we kind of started and went running, and it was a great thing. But we have over the years had to look at how do we add and how do we manage the development of the heritage area and the sites that we work with. There are scenic routes, there are historic sites, there's farms, vineyards, wineries, museums, art galleries, parks, nature centers, fairs, you name it. Anybody that tells a piece of the agricultural story, we will work with them. And so in Waterloo, as you can see, there's a lot of red dots on the map here. We work in Waterloo specific, we work with 8 sites. Bennington Number School, if you've not been there, it's a great country school on its original site, just north of town. Cedar Valley Arboretum, Hawkeye Community College Farm, Grant Museum District, the Waterloo Center for the Arts, National Cattle Congress, which has a tremendous history in our in agriculture, and not only its story is not just relevant to here, but it was a national story, and the development of agriculture as a nation. Also, we work with the Waterloo Center for the Arts, and I'm going to highlight some of their work. Could you advance the slide, Jori? But you can see we work with a variety of sites, which means that we have to be flexible in how we do our work. And so you could advance the slide again. A big part of what I do is I work with those sites that are interested in working in the heritage area and being the keeper of our cultural heritage. We look at designating these sites by these 4 criteria. I'm not going to bore with you all the details, but I can tell you that it's not me alone that makes this decision. We have a peer review process that involves the other heritage area sites in the process. We look at whether or not they're located within the physical boundaries of the heritage area. We look at how is their accessibility, and accessibility that meets what they can do. If it's a historic site,
Yes.
Yes, come
You
see
guys
us at
have a
our
great day.
headquarters. So,
Okay.
thank you, everyone.
Take care. Have a great day.